Hello everybody. Today in our international marketing class, we're going to start our Unit 2. Unit 2 is about common markets, negotiation systems, characteristics of the negotiators in the global market. First part of our class, looking for opportunities to launch the product. When you decide to launch a new product, you have to pay attention to some items. For instance, customer requirements presentation. What your customers need? What would they like you to offer them? You have to be aware about that. It doesn't help to offer someone something they don't want. Probably you're going to fail. Another point you have to pay attention, development of the customer requirements. Once you know what your customer needs, you have to develop what they want. Third item, correlating products requirement with customers. That means you have to analyze what you understood about the necessity of the customers and compare with the customers' requirements from you. In other words, you have to compare what you understood with what they ask you to do so. And the last one is defining the product specification. This is very important. Once you know what your customer wants from you, and you understood, and you split that into pieces so you can form the final product, you have to record that into a specification. And the specification itself means step by step of what you have to do in order to produce, in order to provide a service to the customers. It's a record, and by following, you will reproduce the same product, the same service all the time. So those 4 items is very important when looking for opportunities to launch the product. As important as looking for opportunities is pay attention in opportunities abroad in terms of country's culture. As I told you in one of our last classes, when you decide to go abroad, you have to study the cultures, because sometimes what you have in your country doesn't make sense abroad. So if you decide to sell coffee, for instance, and it comes in a bag with 500 grams, and you decide to sell that in the United States, you have to pay attention because there, grams not so useful. They use ounces, pounds, so that's one prerequisite you have to analyze prior going out. So country's culture is really important for getting a successful product. It means analyzing color, package format, words, brand, how to promote it, what makes sense for the user, for final users. Another item you have to pay attention when going out is a change in government policy. Why is that? If you're gonna sell abroad, probably you will export or setting up a new plant, a new factory in another country. And if the government decide to charge the imports of your product, that means your cost is going to be higher. Or if you set up a new factory in another country to sell your product, to produce and sell your product, sometimes the government may change the labor policy, for instance, and the salaries goes up, and that will get your cost a little bit higher, which could mean non-competitive product in that kind of market. So a change in government policy can be a point of concern for you. So stable government may offer you better opportunities for doing business out. Another point, the stability of the government, which I just talked about. The stability means a lot for you. The more stable, the better for you. The opposite is also true. So in a government which happens coup d'etat many times, can offer you a risk. Sometimes the government, in a hypothetical thought, could take over of your company. And what are you going to do in that situation? So you have to pay attention in the stability of the government. The quality of government's economic management. Economy means everything in the market. So if the government has a good economy management, that means stable government in terms of marketing, and that is good for you. But the opposite, you have to pay attention. The country's attitude towards foreign investment. If you're going to pay money, if you're going to invest money in another country, you have to understand how the government, how the population, that country reacts towards the new investors. Sometimes they don't like it, they don't agree, they don't want. So they will set up barriers in order to complicate your life. So you have to analyze that scenario. Another point, the country's relationship with the rest of the world. How the rest of the world relations with that country. Because sometimes you can build a factory in that country and from there export to another countries. But if the other countries don't have a good relationship with the country where the factory is, probably you will have difficulty to export. Or also, if you need to import raw material or packaging, anything from another country, you have to analyze the import tax, how the other countries' relations with this country where the company is. Because sometimes if your company is in a country where they don't relate very well with another ones, that means higher cost for you, and that means higher product cost, which means out of the market. So pay attention to this. The closeness between the government and people. Here we are talking about a government which is a democratic one. The more democratic, in my opinion, the better for the company. The fairness and honesty of administrative procedures. Fairness and honesty means a lot for your business. You have to work with fair and honest people. Otherwise, you have problem because they will try to make money out from you. So take care. Well, those are some items, just some. It's not exhaustive, this list. You have to pay attention on other ones. But those are the main, in my opinion, all right? Customer requirements presentation. We have to think about what does your customers would like you to offer him or her. If your customer needs a red car, you have to prepare a project to attend them. It doesn't help to offer a green car if they need a red one. You have to think first in your customers. Customers define what they want. And in your side, you have to attend them. Face-to-face negotiations with the customers are the heart of the sales. So talk to your customers. Don't set up distance relationships. Try to be face-to-face, talk to him or her. Try to understand their need. Try to be honest, be honest and fair with your customers and set up a good relationship with them. That's, in my opinion, a success recipe. Motivate salespeople and managers to rethink their behavior and attitude toward the customers. Well, in my opinion, guys, customers are the most important part of your business. Without customers, you are out, you are fired. So there is just one boss in the company, and that boss is the customers. Without it, you don't exist for the company. So motivate your people to attend your customers as well as possible. All right? Well, guys, those are some tips for today. Here's some reference for your study. See you next class. Bye.